The Shade Guardians are here, heroes that shine in the darkest shades of the night. Sam, the one-armed werewolf, Larson, the lightning genius, Eve, the woman with perfect eyes, and Sarah, the pure heart. Behold, as the group forms to take on dark foes and grow into a team one by one. See them form the team in several short stories. Sam's arm burned from the bite of the wolf. As he moves to eliminate the curse of the wolf, he meets new allies and enemies. Will the heroes survive as they face a horde of werewolves, strange powers, and the strongest wolf that ever lived? Can the power of the moon defeat justice? The light of hope shines even brighter than the moon as the Shade Guardians finally appear. It's a new ebook where you meet the team of supernatural heroes who shine in the darkest shades of night. It's for mature readers. It contains werewolves, violence, language, witches, and strange creatures. You can get the new ebook right now on smashwords.com. That's smashwords.com today. Hardcover editions are coming later this year. Again, it's called Shade Guardians Origins. Shade spelled Shayde. Go check them out at smashwords.com today.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast. This is the Week in Review. It is Sunday, January 8th, 2023. Hope everybody's doing well as we roll into the first full week of 2023. And why not make 2023 the year that you go ad-free? Because we all know ads interrupt your listening experience. There's no better way to get that ad-free experience than Patreon. At patreon.com/WWE Podcast, you can get all of our shows ad-free for $1 a month. And there's also exclusive shows as you go higher in tiers, and also video that is included in the SmackDown tier and higher. And actually, I wanted to give a shout out to our latest patrons that have joined us over the last week or so. And those individuals are Howard P., Sean G., and Zach S. Trying not to give away the last names here, but thank you, Zach, Sean, Howard. Much appreciated over the last week. You've joined us, and enjoy your ad-free experience. So, alrighty, cool. Let's get into the Week in Review, as it is a very SmackDown-heavy show, and, you know, another eventful SmackDown. Another show that feels like everything they do is important. Even a match as silly as Kofi Kingston versus Santos Escobar. Even that match felt like it was tolerable, okay, because they told us why the match was happening. It made sense to why the match was happening, and it also showed us an interview that we didn't see backstage that happened where those two got into a confrontation. So I really, I appreciated that. While I wasn't super emotionally invested in this, I appreciated the at least effort to make us feel like we should care at some level. And of course, even the silly match like we had with Ricochet and Top Dollar. That one, they've turned a botch that wasn't supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago into an actual program with Top Dollar. Now, hilariously, he's now known as Flop Dollar. And, I still don't believe, even if a man his size, like we saw with Drew McIntyre in the tag team title match on the main event, even if you can do it, it doesn't mean you should, because because number one, it makes every match feel the same. And everybody's got the same moveset. And I understand that if you're a big guy and you can do this, you want to show it off. But I actually think it makes the feeling that every match is cookie cutter on some level. And there's very little in differentiation between movesets and individuals throughout the matches. And I don't like that. And also, if you're a big man, work like a big man. And plus, the number three, look, you're creating a higher level of risk when there doesn't need to be one there. If you're a bigger dude, just physics, science will tell you the risk is higher for injury for yourself and the people that you're landing on. So I don't like it all around. I really don't. That said, this didn't take away from the Sheamus and Drew and Usos match, which was very good for the main event. Very good. The Charlotte Flair promo, I mean, we're going to get to all of it. But one thing I want to just hit on quickly as we're talking about Charlotte and her promo, we'll get to that in just a second. But it was actually comments by Michael Cole, and where he told the audience that last week SmackDown was the most watched show in the last 2 years. And one of the reasons that was the case was the women's championship match between Ronda Rousey and Raquel Rodriguez. I LOL'd at this. I mean, what are you talking about? Cole, what are you talking about? No, the reason it was the highest rated SmackDown in 2 years is very simple. It's one reason, and one reason only: John Cena. That's it. That's it, because they did a stellar job of promoting a match for the main event of SmackDown, and they did it several weeks in advance. And so people had time to think about it and speculate and create a buzz on social media. Now, do I think the match actually delivered? No. I actually think the match severely underdelivered based on the promotion that it was given. And that it was simply a way to just have John Cena continue his streak of having a match in WWE every year for 20 years at the expense of just really not advancing many storylines. And, just I think it severely underdelivered. I really do. At the time when I reviewed it, I was happy with it because it was cool to see John Cena. But in retrospect, you promoted the hell out of that match to give it, 5 minutes? And John Cena wrestled for a total of 45 seconds. Seriously? I mean, that's not hyperbole. I think actually he was under 60 seconds that he actually wrestled. It was pathetic. So, you do all that hype and you give 45 seconds of a match for John Cena and 5 minutes total for the match. And that's kind of as fans, how are we not pissed off at this? I don't know. I'm not trying to cause an uprising, but as I went out in time and I'm listening to other people, I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. We were all fooled into believing that this should have been something massive and that the WWE delivered. No, they didn't. They severely underdelivered, but that happened last week, and we're not here to talk about that. But it was, to me, just an insult to hear Michael Cole say that one of the reasons that the SmackDown was so highly rated is because of the Raw or the SmackDown Women's Championship match. No, Cole. No. Stop. Relax. It wasn't. I can guarantee you that. Okay? So, that said, Charlotte Flair had a nice promo, and it looks like WWE is going to go with a babyface Charlotte Flair. Now, I've seen this experiment many times, and every time it has failed because Charlotte is a natural-born heel, literally, and it never feels right when she's a babyface, almost ever, for several reasons. Her just natural presence. I think she's naturally a very highly confident woman, which comes across as arrogant. She's constantly champion, which irks a lot of people. So it's going to be a challenge for sure on SmackDown to have people cheering Charlotte Flair. And I understand why they're turning her babyface. They're capitalizing on a return, which anytime there's a return, you get that babyface pop, even if they're a hot heel leaving. It's just, you always get that massive babyface return kind of excitement. And now they're trying to keep it rolling, excuse me, with Charlotte Flair. And I'm all for it because right now they're trying to make Ronda Rousey the top heel on SmackDown in the women's division. And I think they've successfully done that. Hilariously, the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Charlotte." And I totally agree with that. I mean, I think Charlotte got that thank you for taking away a championship from a non-deserving, boring women's champion. And that's what Ronda Rousey was. I mean, when people are saying, thank you, Charlotte for taking the championship off of her. I mean, think about that. It completely goes against the entire narrative for most people that booed Charlotte Flair and complained about Charlotte Flair for constantly being champion, and yet now they're siding with her. That's how badly they wanted and how uninspired they were with Ronda Rousey as women's champion. I actually don't believe, and this, maybe you guys agree, don't agree. I don't think Ronda Rousey will ever again, at least in this current run with her contract, which I presume is up at WrestleMania this year. I don't think she'll see a championship again. I mean, even if her contract runs beyond WrestleMania, I don't think she'll see a championship for quite some time. I could be totally wrong about that, and Becky Lynch somehow is able to challenge her and all that. I just don't think it's going to happen because she has shown what she is as champion, and it's flat out boring. It just is. And when you look at Ronda Rousey, there's not a lot to be excited about. I mean, there's just not, outside of, okay, her name value. Let me put it this way. If you took somebody that truly had no idea who Ronda Rousey was, none, they never heard of her, they only watched wrestling, and they started, right when Ronda Rousey won the championship, and they watched her, you can't tell me that person with no background knowledge on Ronda Rousey just took her at face value for only what she produced over the last several months as champion, and that they would be like, wow, this woman is a future megastar. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't at all. They would actually look at her and be like, is she new? Because she feels like she's new every week. So anyway, can you tell I'm not a Ronda fan? Okay, but the match here, or the promo from Charlotte was good. She felt self-aware. She addressed the boos that people, love to hate me or hate to love me, all that. So she acknowledged them, which usually is when I think the point of this was to be self-aware to the fans. Number two is to acknowledge the people that are booing her. And when you acknowledge the people that are booing you in a way that's kind of like, yeah, I know you guys are doing it. It's fine. It's cool. In a way that's not insulting to them, I think it cools off those people that want to be heard for booing you. And it's like, oh, okay, she heard us. Well, now she doesn't care if we boo her, so let's not do that. It's a psychological game rather, with the fans, and it's a smart way, I think, to at least mitigate, to the best of your ability, the people that are going to boo her if you're trying to push Charlotte as a massive babyface. So I think it was an effective promo. Of course, it didn't last long. You had Sonya Deville come out, and I don't know. Sonya Deville's good on the microphone. I have to say that. I've always said that. I don't like her attitude offline. I think her as a person is not my favorite, but in the ring, I think she's solid. Again, her promos are very good. And this match with Charlotte was exactly what it should have been. It's putting over Charlotte, having Sonya Deville lose yet another match and tap out. What's interesting to me was the stat that was given to me by, I don't know if it was Wade Barrett or Cole, that said that she has yet to win a championship in WWE. I don't know if she said singles. I don't think that she's ever been a women's tag team champion. But if that's true, that's actually kind of surprising. I mean, even Liv Morgan, who is just a complete and utter, just essentially enhancement talent in WWE for how many years, has gotten a run with the belt. And Sonya Deville, who has been around for quite some time, has not yet got a run with it. So it's interesting to me. That was just a wow fact for me. You just look at everybody and you kind of assume they're a former champion in some way sometimes, especially in the women's division, with so few women in total comparison to the men, that you assume, since so few women are in the division, that at least at some point they've all been champion, which is not a good thing to think, but it was interesting to me. I don't know. I'm just leaving it at that. It was interesting to me, and it does lend itself to believe that perhaps Sonya Deville is going to be a champion in 2023. So, but she taps out to the figure eight, and she should have, and we move on. All right, let's continue. Oh, but do I think Ronda Rousey is going to have a rematch with Charlotte at Royal Rumble? Yes, and maybe it'll be somehow we get Shayna Baszler banned from ringside or something. We'll see. Okay, let's move on here. We got Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. The whole bloodline opened the show as usually they're raising hell, and Roman comes out and starts just getting angry and saying that he's accusing Zayn of trying to essentially take power and that he wants to be the tribal chief. And it really resonated, I think, with the fans. And I think it resonated with the people at home that you're like, oh boy, here we go, right? Like there is that tension where Sami's getting more of the attention and the admiration of fans than the leader of the group. And I think I know on the character part of Roman that it's jealousy, right? It's jealousy on the part of Roman coming out as anger. And I think it was a very effective segment. It almost felt like Roman Reigns was going to beat down Sami Zayn physically, and he didn't. Kevin Owens came out and tried to kind of help out Sami and make the case that your anger is misdirected, that you should be angry at me. And he duped Roman into a SmackDown or a Undisputed Universal WWE European Championship match at Royal Rumble, which, I mean, if you listen to this show, I expected the match to come because they've only got 3 weeks now and they need to have a top title match announced at least 3 weeks in advance. And here we are. That's fine. It happened, right? So we got officially Roman versus Kevin Owens for the Undisputed Universal Championship. That's good. So at least we know what match for sure we're getting. Next week, though, Sami Zayn is going to face Kevin Owens because it's on SmackDown. Roman Reigns ended up apologizing to Sami towards the end of the show. And that was a bit of a turn of events. Like WWE keeps teasing this. They keep on teasing it. And I have no problem with it because we all thought that Sami was going to be subservient to Roman, and he was. But Roman was the one who ended up apologizing to Sami for what he said to him earlier in the night. And that was something that was a turn I didn't see coming, but they teased you and then swerved and said, oh, well, I'm the one that's sorry. So Roman said, you're going to be able to make good on this and make it up to me by facing Kevin Owens next week. And Sami Zayn said that he's going to take care of the Kevin Owens problem next week. Be interesting to see that match, especially if Sami loses, which I think he will. Sami Zayn is going to lose that match next week for two big reasons. Number one, it continues to build Kevin Owens as a top championship contender, and it makes it a little, build on the believability, if there is any, of Kevin possibly beating Roman for the belt. It also will further the tension between Sami and the bloodline. And that's what the story is right now. Now we're getting into WrestleMania season. We're going to have to start accelerating it. And WWE, I'm sure, is well aware that they don't want to just cut this off, right? Like, this is a story you want to continue to build and play out and flesh out. Plus, they're making a ton of money with merch right now. Why screw with that? So, but to me, this is the next step in the eventual, pretty much fait accompli destination of Sami getting absolutely brutalized physically by the bloodline, particularly Roman. And having Sami Zayn in the Royal Rumble, if that happens, again, I would imagine maybe next week or the week after, we learn that Sami Zayn is going to be a part of the Royal Rumble itself, that he is going to be one of the favorites to win the Rumble. Imagine that. Think about that statement just a year ago, even. That Sami Zayn, if he's in the Rumble, is one of the favorites to win it, and you can actually make a really good case for it. Think about that. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I have no complaints there because they could really play that out in a fun way. But I still think Cody Rhodes is the overwhelming favorite because right now there's rumors of WWE just stripping Roman of one of the championships and having Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship and having Roman only compete on one night against The Rock for the Universal. So that is an absolute a possibility. And we'll dive into that as we get closer to the Rumble or rather after the Rumble especially. So anyway, this storyline continues to progress nicely. And next week is going to take that next step where Sami loses to Kevin. And maybe Kevin is able to pick a stipulation or something. I mean, maybe, we'll see. But I like this. I like this a lot. So, and also one thing I noticed that I never vocalized is Sami continues to not only be the honorary Uso, because Roman Reigns hasn't officially blessed him as an actual Uso, is that he always has to knock before he goes into the Bloodline's locker room. And if you're truly a part of a group, you don't have to knock. You know, it was very apparent and purposeful, I think, this week with the visual that Sami's nervously knocking while you have the Usos, you know, glad-handing Paul Heyman and just kind of sliding in like it's their own home. No problem. No, they don't need to knock, but Sami Zayn's still kind of feeling like that outsider. So that was a fun little visual that is also something that we should keep an eye on of exactly when or if Sami Zayn is not going to have to do that. So, all right. What else happened? We got Kofi Kingston versus Santos Escobar. As I said, Santos Escobar gets the victory in just a solid match. You know, I mean, no problem here. And having Santos Escobar get the victory is the only way this could have ended. The New Day don't need the victory. The New Day never need to win a match again. I mean, not just because I don't like them. I mean, that certainly doesn't help them from my opinion perspective, but just from a pure objective standpoint, the New Day are beyond made. They're still getting cheered inexplicably. They're like 1,800-time champions. They don't need to ever win a match again, and they'd still be over. So they're kind of in the immunity part of their careers, for real. I mean, they can bounce back from any loss at this point. And I would imagine that Santos Escobar and Kofi Kingston are going to have a Royal Rumble moment, or, you know, Santos maybe eliminates Kofi, whatever the case may be. But Kofi's competed in 15 Royal Rumbles, they said? That's crazy. Kane is the only one who has more at 17, I guess. So a lot of cool statistics they pulled out of the woodwork this week, I have to say. All right, Madcap Moss and Emma versus Karrion Kross and Scarlett. So Scarlett getting in the ring for the first time on the main roster. This was okay. I think that Scarlett, she wasn't bad. She might have had a little bit of the nervous jitters competing on the first time on the main roster, and in the largest audience she's probably ever competed in front of when you look at in person and at home combined. And it was fine. You know, you knew that Karrion Kross and Scarlett were going to win this. Madcap Moss has had next to no promo time. You know, he's been just kind of a backstage goon for quite a while now. And I mean, Karrion Kross is the one with the program. He's trying to get under the skin of Rey Mysterio and tell him he's next. And he did that again this week after he put Madcap Moss in the Cross jacket, and that essentially knocked out Madcap Moss. We got Scarlett taking the mask of Rey Mysterio and putting it on the face of Madcap Moss, symbolizing you're next. And even Karrion Kross said that into the camera after the matchup. So, I mean, I don't imagine this lasting, though, too long with Rey Mysterio, because Rey has to quickly then move on to a program with his son that is going to culminate in a match at WrestleMania 39. So, I mean, it's not a rush, I should say. I mean, even after the Rumble, they've got over 2 months to build it. But this Karrion Kross Rey Mysterio matchup and program is not going to last too long. So it was just basically a way to send a message to Rey Mysterio, that all-important message. So, but again, Scarlett looked fine. And Scarlett does have a presence about her, I have to say. I mean, beyond being obviously a very attractive woman, which is, a dime a dozen in WWE, she does have an aura about her, as Cole said. She does. She has a perfect match with Karrion Kross. I love their chemistry together. She, I think, does on her own have a future in the women's division. Now, is that as champion or just kind of a mid-card forever player? We'll see. But I was encouraged by what I saw in the ring. It wasn't, when the first time you see somebody in the ring, especially if it's a woman, you're like, oh boy, is this going to be bad? And it wasn't. She was respectable in the ring. Of course, you got the obligatory women can attack men, but men can't retaliate. That whole narrative that's so silly. But okay. Backstage, though, LA Knight cut a promo about his Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Boy, how much is Mountain Dew paying for this? Right? How much is Mountain Dew forking over to WWE to have them say Mountain Dew Pitch Black match? I mean, I've never had any that I can remember a sponsor that specifically sponsored a specific match. Like, I don't think it's happened. Has it? Is Mountain Dew, why are they so obsessed with Pitch Black? Is that like a new flavor of Mountain Dew or something? What's the connection? What's the obsession? I don't know. But I wonder how much they're paying WWE. I don't know. Quite a bit. However, we still don't know, more importantly, we still don't know what the stipulations of this Pitch Black match is. Cole alluded to it again. Cole, I really enjoyed Cole on SmackDown this week, as you could tell. He was very informative, great statistics, cool facts we didn't know before, and also bringing up the fact that we don't know what the hell a Pitch Black match is. I've speculated, we've all speculated as to what that is. Hopefully it's explained maybe next week. And we can, just put this to rest, that it's not truly going to be a lights out match. Let's hope and pray. Okay. I'll leave it at that. I've already ranted about it. It's not official yet. So if it does become official, then we'll rant more. Until then, I'm going to let it play itself out. So LA Knight, though, again, I love hearing him on the microphone. His, I love that. Having him, it didn't really advance much this week, though. I mean, Bray Wyatt wasn't there. He just basically said that, one of his goons turned on him, and there wasn't a whole lot there, but it was just to keep this match in the back of your minds. We also got a Cody Rhodes promo that also, I think, aired on Raw. And there's just another promo of, don't forget about Cody. Remember what his mission statement was on day one in the company. When his first day back in the company, he mentioned, hey, I'm going to win this for my dad. Okay. So that was the message is, don't forget about me. Remember my injury. And don't forget about my mission of trying to win the WWE Championship. Those were really the takeaways from that. Is, hey, I'm on my way back. It's the worst kept secret ever that Cody Rhodes is going to be a part of the Rumble. I mean, it's been known for like 6 months. So, all right, let's see. We got the Charlotte Flair promo. Let's see. The Royal Rumble qualifying match, Ricochet versus Flop Dollar. God, that's a great one. This is, okay, Ricochet beats Top Dollar as he should have in a somewhat quick match. I really am more excited about what happened after the match because, okay, Ricochet qualifies for the Rumble. Now, how the other 28 other people qualify because Kofi already said he's in. I mean, we don't know. It's in secret. But the most important thing was that a heel turn. The heel turn for Hit Row here could be their saving grace. Having Ashanti the Adonis, first of all, in a new look was nice. B-Fab physically attack Ricochet. Yeah, Braun Strowman comes out to help out Ricochet, and they scatter like mice. But, I didn't really care about Braun Strowman here. This was about the heel turn for Top Dollar, Ashanti the Adonis, and B-Fab, Hit Row. And I'm excited about what this could bring. Clearly, the babyface version of them didn't work. To be fair, WWE barely gave them any mic time, any character development whatsoever. And the most notable thing that happened was a botch by Top Dollar. I mean, that is not exactly a successful babyface run. When you don't really give them any character development, and I can guarantee you that no one else can really mention a moment in this iteration of Hit Row before they turned heel this week, outside of the botch by Top Dollar. I mean, that's not good. So this gives them new life. However, if this isn't successful, then what? Then what? I'm a bit nervous for Hit Row if they don't succeed as heels here. And I mean that in a job way. You could be on the chopping block after WrestleMania, the infamous, like, what is the week after WrestleMania, Black Friday or Black Monday rather, that they typically do cuts. If they flop, I don't mean that as a pun, but if they do, and this heel turn doesn't work, and it's a complete, a complete failure, then I'd be concerned, if you're a Hit Row fan, that they may be on the chopping block again come that Black Monday in April following Mania. So I hope it works. I really do, because I think there's something there. There's something there with this group. They just haven't found it yet, or they haven't been given the opportunity, and there's no character development. You got to do character development, okay? You got to give them a voice. And they haven't done that. I don't know if they're just too afraid, or what they've seen in NXT or in whatever practice sessions before the show or whatever. They don't like it. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason why they haven't really done much with them character-wise. And that's really what's going to hold them back. All right. What else? Main event, really good here. I mean, really good. Better than I even thought it would be. The Undisputed Tag Team Championship match, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus the Usos. Now, we had a Jerry the King Lawler bar segment here where Drew and Sheamus were in the bar and they were slapping each other and looked like I thought they were going to get into a brawl again. And it ended up with them just saying, it's going to be a banger after banger after banger. And it's like, it's fine. I got it. It's not the worst thing in the world. Fine. It was just to hype themselves up, and it's fine. So this match was really good. It totally worth main event status. I mean, all four men just killed themselves here, and the near falls were very believable. You went into this match knowing with fairly high confidence, fairly high certainty, that the Usos were probably going to retain. I mean, if you were to put money on it, the smart money's on the Usos here. But you can't tell me that there were not times when Drew and Sheamus had you believing. The near falls here were incredible. We got, I think it was the Claymore on Jay and the interruption by Jimmy. I mean, by the fractions of a second. And then to me, the even more convincing one was when, we knew that we were going to have the enforcer Solo Sikoa interfere, and he did. But then we got the Brawling Brutes to even the odds, and you're like, okay, here we go. And then the Brogue Kick on Jimmy, I think it was. And you're like, oh my God, everyone's down. He got the Brogue Kick. What's going to happen? And he gets the 1, 2, and of course, Jay pulls him out of the ring, saves the matchup at the last possible second. And then, we get the assist from Jay and Jimmy, and the kind of cheating to win tactic of using his feet to help Jimmy get the leverage and get the victory over Sheamus and the win. And also, really, what another near fall that was great was the 1D on Sheamus that Michael Cole, who has a really bad habit of going into his finish kind of, I don't know what you call it, is when he knows a matchup is ending, he goes into his finish line before the 3 count. And he has a really bad habit of doing that. Like, you just know he'll start the sentence and, he'll say 1 and done. And 99% of the time that's the case, and he ruins the finish before you see it. Kind of like the bad habit of announcers saying, and that's got to be it, we have a new champion. Immediately whoever it is going to kick out. I mean, it's an awful habit that just somebody needs to tell them. I mean, just announcers across the board in professional wrestling. I know they're trying to sell the moment and make it feel bigger, but if you've been watching wrestling even for like a short period of time, you're like, how come every time they say a championship belt is going to change hands and they're so convinced it doesn't happen? Anyway, but Cole this time, I think, he felt legitimately surprised because they hit the 1D on Sheamus, and he probably knew the Usos were going to win, and Sheamus didn't. Drew McIntyre saved the matchup. And there was only like 2.5 minutes left in the match, and I was like, oh my God, wait a minute, Sheamus didn't lose there, and Cole went into his finish, line, and it didn't look like Drew was going to be able to help. And Drew, at the very last second, also broke up the pin. That was very convincing. Cole, you could even see him like losing his mind. Like, what? So again, just a couple of examples of some of the great near falls and just physical wrestling. And they're four like absolute professionals in there. I mean, 4 ring generals, really. No issue here. Really good main event. Could watch them anytime. If they want to make them in the main event, like a few times a month, I'd watch it. It was so much fun. So it really makes you wonder where this is going now. And I'd imagine that it's just Drew and Sheamus are going to kind of go their separate ways, and they're going to just be in the Rumble. They're going to be Rumble competitors. And maybe, Drew will make it to the Final Four, but I don't think Drew or Sheamus are really believable at all to be the ones to win the Rumble. But it'll be fun to see them in the Final Four. Like at least one of them will be. I think Drew probably. I think they're kind of done as a tag team for the time being anyway. But all right, well, what else happened here? So, of course, the Vince McMahon story is running wild, and that he's now officially back on the board of directors, and he's trying to force a sale and all this kind of thing. And I've talked about this a little bit, and I'll be honest, the sale part of it to me is it's not as concerning as some may feel it is, although I will say I have to bring politics a little bit into this. I'm not going to talk about specific politics other than just broad strokes because it does affect the sale here. What I mean by that is this. There's been rumors of large corporations like a Disney, like an NBC, who are interested in purchasing WWE. And in today's culture and politics, especially for these large organizations, they typically follow a very liberal viewpoint on things. And professional wrestling, to me, should be completely immune from all politics, period. End of subject. Just they should. And it's going to be interesting to see if the political viewpoints of this major corporation, if it's NBC or Disney, both of them share the same view. If those views are going to be instilled in a professional wrestling product, if they own it, it could be I don't want to go too far. I'm not trying to alarm anybody, but that's kind of the way things are shaping up in today's world. Like, that's just the way it is. Okay. Politics seem to bleed into everything, and it's a shame, really. But I just hope that, that if it is NBC or Disney or Comcast, whoever that purchases WWE, that they just leave WWE the hell alone and then let them do their thing. And just, obviously you own them now, but I mean, and you profit off of them. But I hope that none of that comes to fruition. Okay. It's something to think about. Okay. We're not even at the sale yet, much less talking about a buyer and, that kind of thing happening to WWE with political views being, kind of injected into them. But it's on the horizon of possibilities. Okay. That's all. This is something to think about. I hope it doesn't happen. I wouldn't care if WWE sold or not. I mean, it doesn't really affect me one way or the other. I'm not a shareholder in WWE, but I guess we will have to see. All right. So that is what happened on SmackDown. And let's see. I'm going to talk about Raw a little bit. Again, Raw feeling very inconsequential. I hate to say it. Raw's got to pick it up. They got to pick it up big time here. We're getting into Rumble season. All right, so on Monday Night Raw, as just kind of a quick recap, the Bloodline invades, as they seem to do everywhere and every show now. Solo Sikoa beats Elias in a Music City street fight. The Bloodline take out the Street Profits and Kevin Owens via pinfall. We had a Raw Women's Championship match that I know some of you didn't like. I actually thought it was fine, given the purpose of the match, which again is just a further storyline, further the story of the descent of Alexa Bliss's character back into darkness. That's the focus here. It's not the Raw Women's Championship. They're using the Raw Women's Championship match as a vehicle to get there and give as much attention to it as possible of what they're doing with Alexa. But it's not really about the championship for Alexa yet. Although Alexa Bliss was advertised on SmackDown to be on Raw and talk about what she did last week to Bianca and really just brutalizing her. So the match here obviously ended with Alexa Bliss losing because of disqualification, losing her mind, attacking the referee, and doing what she did to Bianca. Dexter and Lumis took out Chad Gable because everyone takes out Chad Gable. Damage Control took out Becky Lynch and Michin. And Becky Lynch, and I think I talked about this on Raw, and I'll say it briefly again. This is the most uninspiring Becky Lynch-Bayley matchup I've ever seen. Or program, whatever this is. It feels like both of them are stuck in like purgatory. I don't know what to make of them, what to make of this. I think the Rumble will reset them and have them go their own separate paths. Like this feels like so uninteresting with Becky and Bayley. I don't know what it is about this version. I'm not in it. I don't hate it. I don't think it's embarrassing. I don't think it's bad. And it's just, for me, I'm not invested emotionally at all. And this is weird to say, given that they are two of the biggest women's stars in professional wrestling history. And yet I feel next to nothing for this, just kind of empty. Do you guys feel the same? I could be alone in this. The United States Championship match, Austin Theory took out Seth Rollins. He hit A-Town down. And a really good match here. The Rollins hitting a pedigree and having the referee not there immediately to take the pinfall was a nice false finish. And having Austin Theory get the victory was the right move. I do believe that. I know a lot of people want Seth Rollins to be, a singles champion, and I would agree. But why not make him the WWE champion? If we can get that belt off Roman and have a Cody Seth match at Mania night 1, bring it on. I would bring it on. That is your best chance for a Seth Rollins WWE Championship run, at least in the next few months. So that pretty much did it all for me this week in WWE, and I think I covered most of everything. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please give us a 5-star rating and review everywhere that you can, or support us on Patreon, patreon.com/WWE podcast if you want to go ad-free. And $1 gets you in the door. $5 on the SmackDown tier gets you video and an exclusive After Dark show. I just posted an After Dark show last night, actually, covering the very controversial topic of, can men and women really be friends? Yeah, I know. That wasn't a wrestling-related topic, and most of those After Dark shows are not. That's why they're kind of adult-themed shows. So not kid-friendly at all, not family-friendly. As a warning, it is an exclusive show to Patreon. It doesn't go anywhere else, but they are R to X-rated at times. Okay, so fair warning. And you can also support us on Apple. If you have an Apple podcast or Apple phone, iPhone. Did I really say Apple phone? That's what old people say. And that's like what your parents say, right? Would you get that Apple phone? Oh my God. What the hell's wrong with me? But if you have an iPhone, you have Apple Podcasts in there. You can subscribe for 99 cents a month. It's right in the podcast. 99 cents a month or $10 for the year gets you 2 months for free for our show, with every show that we do ad-free. And I'd really recommend that you do that too. Or WWEpodcast.com, ad-free there. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Current State of WWE with Anthony DeMarco. Until then, take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.